Good morning. First up here at 5 o'clock, freak accident, and it takes a tragic turn. A local attorney killed after a crowbar goes crashing right through his windshield.
Drying out after a wild weekend, homeowners in Lynn still fighting through the flooding that seriously damaged their homes.
Fierce feud, more bitter back and forth between Omarosa and President Donald Trump as the former aide's new book hits store shelves.
And JD honored by the MLB as the Red Sox return to action in Philadelphia.
This is 7 News Today in New England.
Good morning, Boston. It is 5 o'clock on the dot as we enter Tuesday, which means it's not Monday anymore.
No.
It's officially working our way through the work week. We appreciate you spending it here with us. I'm Chris Anderson.
And I'm Amaka Ubaka. If you've woken up and either looked outside or stepped outside, you're going to notice it is very foggy out there.
Yeah.
If you take a live look out, I don't even know what we're looking at, Chris. It's just...
I lost power last night.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if it was when all the heavy rain started coming down, Chris.
Yeah, you know, first I've heard of it losing that power out there, Chris. Hopefully not too many folks lost power out there. Tough to see outside this morning, isn't it, with that reduction in visibility? You're looking at the visibilities quarter mile or less. Beverly, Boston, over to Plymouth. So far starting off this morning in that dense fog advisory in effect, essentially from the city of Boston down through the South Shore, the Cape and the Islands. Visibility is restricted to a quarter mile or less. Current temperature 70 in the city right now, 67 degrees in Worcester. So it was cool yesterday, relatively speaking, to where we've been each afternoon, but the temperatures really didn't drop off all that much overnight. I do expect to bounce back in temperatures today into the low 80s. Still have the risk of an isolated shower or thunderstorm, especially this afternoon. They'll be a little more numerous across the interior. Temperatures running into the low 80s. This will include out there in Foxborough. We're talking about Pat's training camp. You want to take it in? Just heads up for an isolated shower. Much of the time will be rain-free. It'll be muggy as well, guys.
All right, let's get our first check of the roadways on your Tuesday morning commute. It's 5:02. Elena, any issues popping up just yet?
Well, so far, so foggy out there on the roadways. You can see the brake lights from some of these cars. They're on the Braintree split, I promise, making their way to the expressway. We have a better shot of the expressway, too, where you can actually see some of the roadway, but you can still tell that very poor visibility is going to be what you're seeing when you leave to get out onto the roadways. So give yourself an extra 10 minutes for your commute this morning, but it's still very green on the maps. Really, our only slowdowns are closer to Boston. Some overnight construction wrapping up. That's it. So a quick drive time, just about 12 minutes across the board. If you are taking the trains, they're all starting the morning on time.
We're following some breaking news out of London. Officers say that one man is in custody after he allegedly crashed a car into the barriers outside of Parliament. This happened earlier this morning. Police say injuries have been reported at the scene, but they are not considered to be life-threatening. And now at 5, a morning drive taking a tragic turn in Spencer. A crowbar smashes through a car windshield, hitting the driver in the head.
That man taken to the hospital where he later died. And this morning, we have learned he was a well-known defense attorney in this area. 7's Matt Rascone has more.
A freak accident kills a driver in Spencer when a crowbar comes crashing through his front windshield.
That's unbelievable. That's terrible luck, huh? You just never know, I guess.
63-year-old John Medeo was driving down Route 9 Monday morning. You can see where the crowbar flew through his SUV's windshield. Police say the bar was either kicked up or fell from another car, sending Medeo off the road and into a parked car and then over an embankment.
He must have lost consciousness or something that came down through the parking lot, down the embankment, took out the bushes there and stopped there. It was amazing that he stopped there. Could have came all the way into the building.
First responders had to break the passenger window to free the driver. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. John had just left court before the accident. He was a well-known defense attorney and worked as an assistant district attorney for the Worcester County DA's office for more than 15 years. The office released a statement that says, in part, the entire DA's office extends its heartfelt condolences to John's wife, Sue, his daughter Laura, and his daughter and our colleague, ADA Molly. John touched many people in his life with his sharp wit, his compassion, and his legal abilities. He will be missed by all who knew him. This is a big loss for our community.
It's an awful thing, yeah. My daughter works in the court system, so she might have even known the guy.
That was 7's Matt Rascone reporting.
And we're learning new details this morning about a woman found dead in the truck of a car in Maine. The Worcester County DA says that the victim was 28 years old. They say that she was murdered and died from blunt force injuries. Police found her body during a traffic stop. Officers say as they approached the 34-year-old driver, he got out of the car and killed himself. On Friday, police searched a home on Fairview Park Road in Sturbridge. Investigators say that's where the driver was living. Both Maine and Massachusetts authorities are investigating.
Also on 7 Now, homeowners in Lynn still being plagued by water woes after the wild weather struck over the weekend. Dozens dealing with some serious damage left behind by that flooding. 7's John Coco has more on the efforts to try and dry out.
A metal jack, the one thing holding this section of crumbling foundation together. Joyce LeMay Ewing says her home may not survive Sunday's storm.
House collapsed, I'm inside, I don't care. I'm so disgusted. I'm so upset.
She took this picture right after the floods, the water nearly reaching the top steps of her basement. Torrential rainfall damaged about 500 homes in Lynn.
It's just terrible. This whole area was just flooded. You know, people stuck in cars.
The worst of it right here at Ainsworth Place.
Like I say, it's just like a waterfall dumped right in here. Everything was floating.
City Councilor Jay Walsh says this flooding happens almost every year because of poor drainage in the area. This neighborhood going through a similar crisis last September.
So they're doing it again, all over again. And I mean, there's a lot of frustration here. And, you know, from a city perspective, when we have the 100-year storm every 6 months, I don't know what we're supposed to do with that.
This is only going to happen again. And if it happens again, this is what breaks us.
John Coco, 7 News, Today in New England.
The family of a man killed inside his home this weekend is being remembered this morning. Police say that someone broke through the front door of this Mattapan home, shooting and killing Alex Allen while he was sleeping. Allen worked for Boston's Department of Public Works. His family says that they're devastated by the loss as police continue looking for suspects.
And then I heard pow, pow, pow. And it just felt like, oh my God, this must be my house. The door was kicked in, or I didn't know exactly what happened, but I knew it wasn't good. When somebody catches you when you're sleeping, it's just wickedness. You didn't even have a chance to defend yourself, really.
Allen's family says this isn't the first time that he was targeted. He was shot back in December while driving a city vehicle.
New suspensions in the Massachusetts State Police overtime scandal. 4 more members of the department are now temporarily off the job. State police say that they all had discrepancies between overtime pay earned and actual hours worked. This makes a total of 46 employees who are being investigated by state and federal authorities.
Thoughts and prayers are pouring in this morning for the Queen of Soul. According to Aretha Franklin's family, her health has taken a turn for the worse. The legendary singer is reportedly in hospice care in her hometown of Detroit. The 76-year-old has been battling health problems for the last few years. Franklin last performed in November of 2017 and has been out of the public eye ever since. An outpouring of support for the singer on Twitter from others in the music industry. Mariah Carey writing, she's praying for the Queen of Soul.
On the president's agenda, the fiery feud with a former top aide, Omarosa Manigault, releasing yet another audio recording, this time of a phone call she says she had with President Trump after she had been fired. The president firing right back. All of this as Omarosa's blistering new book hits store shelves today. President Trump back at the White House after his 11-day working vacation, ignoring questions from reporters about his relationship with Omarosa Manigault Newman, after she released a secret recording between her and the president taped the day after she was fired.
General Kelly came to me and said that you guys wanted me to leave.
No, nobody even told me about it. Nobody.
Wow.
You know, they run a big operation, but I didn't know it. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Damn it. I don't love you leaving at all.
Omarosa breaking security protocols by secretly taping and releasing her firing by John Kelly in the White House Situation Room.
I think it's important to understand that if we make this a friendly departure, we can all be, you know, you can look at your time here in the White House as a year of service to the nation, and then you can go on without any type of difficulty in the future relative to your reputation.
President Trump once championed Omarosa during the 2016 campaign.
She's a wonderful woman. She has done so much for me with the African American community.
Now doing an about-face.
Lowlife. She's a lowlife.
also calling her wacky and deranged on Twitter. Omarosa is making her rounds promoting her new book, Unhinged, about her time at the White House, calling the president a liar and a racist, saying he used the N-word. President Trump taking to Twitter last night, writing, "I don't have that word in my vocabulary and never have. She made it up."
He doesn't know how to control himself. He has no impulse control, and he doesn't have the tact for the presidency. It's actually really sad to watch him become unhinged, no pun intended.
One administration official says they do not believe Omarosa's recordings pose national security risks because she was never part of any classified discussions during her time at the White House.
An FBI agent who sent negative texts about President Trump has now been fired. Peter Strzok spent more than 20 years with the FBI, and he helped lead the agency's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election until officials discovered that he sent anti-Trump text messages during the campaign. Strzok also led the investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails. He is the third high-ranking FBI official involved in both investigations to be fired. And the defense will start presenting its case today in the fraud trial for former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort. The prosecution rested its case on Monday. They argued that he hid millions of dollars in income and lied on loan applications. Manafort's lawyers have not said whether they will call any witnesses or present any other evidence. He is facing tax evasion and bank fraud charges connected to his lobbying for a pro-Russian group in Ukraine.
The Boston Red Sox taking a 10-game lead into the city of brotherly love tonight to take on the Phillies. Rick Porcello will be on the mound for the first of 2 games against Philly. And the Sox are hoping that one of their stars, J.D. Martinez, remains red hot. He's been red hot all season. 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, earning him American League Player of the Week honors for the second time this season. He also likes hitting against the Phillies, bringing his .375 career batting average against them into tonight's ball game. MVP candidate right there.
Exciting times. Hopefully they got to rest a little bit and ready to play tonight. All right, there's much more to come as 7 News Today New England continues honoring a critical connection, how a teen's death on the Cape helped save the lives of people he never met.
And a house in Haverhill left damaged after a dangerous drive. We'll tell you what caused a car to go crashing into this home.
And Brookline police are looking for a man who they say groped a woman while she was walking to work. What she says the man was wearing.
Fog widespread on this Tuesday morning. We'll get some sunshine this afternoon, but we'll also track a few storms forecast ahead.
And that fog making a difficult morning commute. I'll have details after the break. Stay with us.
Now, 7 weather with meteorologist Chris Lambert.
Time is 5:15 on this Tuesday morning. Good morning, everyone. We do have locally dense fog in the skies once again, and that is going to be with us over the next several hours before we can start to break it apart and shake it off. 70 in Boston right now, the dew point of 69 degrees. Your wind is onshore at 3 miles an hour, and it was a mild and muggy overnight, so it's a mild and muggy start to the day, but we do see some improvements as we get into the afternoon in terms of getting some breaks of sun back into the picture. They're the dew point levels basically matching the air temperature, and when that happens, you get humidities close to 100%. When with the light onshore breeze coming in off the ocean, it is easy for fog to form, and we've certainly seen that this morning. Reductions in visibility below a mile for many towns and cities at the moment. A couple of spot showers to the south of us. Otherwise, it's rather quiet in New England on the radar side of things, but I do expect as we do get a little bit of daytime heating to create enough instability where some scattered showers and storms will fire up. More numerous north and west of Boston, but even along the coastline and down through the South Shore, you can't rule out an isolated storm. So keep an eye on that. The atmosphere still has copious amounts of moisture with it, so any shower thunderstorm that gets going throughout the day will be capable of producing some localized downpours. Taking a look at the forecast for tomorrow, it is warm. Can't rule out a stray shower, but the theme here is a mix of sun and clouds in the afternoon and temperatures back into the mid to upper 80s, and we're right there in the upper 80s again on Thursday. This rain chance may be a little bit overdone. Can't completely rule out an isolated storm on Thursday, but thinking much of the time will be rain-free. So that's going to be your lowest rain chance over the next several days, tomorrow and again on Thursday. Friday's rain chance doesn't arrive until late in the afternoon, so we'll still get our dry hours in here on Friday as well. 78 to 84 this afternoon. To get into the low 80s, you do need some sunshine, and I do expect some breaks of sun this afternoon, but also expecting a few scattered storms out there to keep an eye on. Stray shower or thunderstorm overnight tonight, 64 to 70, so it's another mild and muggy overnight, and then we'll warm it up tomorrow. Stray shower or storm, can't rule it out, but temperatures overall with a mix of sun and clouds bouncing back up into the mid to upper 80s, even close to 90 on Thursday, still in the mid 80s on Friday, starts to turn cooler over the weekend. Saturday right now looks like the day that we have the best opportunity for some scattered showers and storms. Guys.
All right, time now for Fast Track Traffic on this Tuesday morning. Here's Elena Pinto. Good morning, Elena.
Maka, nothing fast about traveling through the fog. Give yourself an extra 10 minutes before you walk out the door because we do have some very poor visibility out there on the roadways. Some of the cameras I have, you can't see anything, and this is one of those cameras that I'm talking about. I promise this is the Zachem, the Leverett connector. You can see some headlights, but not a lot of roadway, so just be careful this morning. There's still a lot of green on the map, so we do have one problem. It's in Lexington. This crash is a street cleaner. It rolled over on the ramp from Route 4 to 128 northbound, so if you take that on ramp, just be careful. You may want to take another one if you're leaving in the next 5. Our only slowdown is on the Braintree split, maybe the top of the expressway. That's it, so your drive time will still be very quick, just about 12 minutes or so across the board. If you are taking the trains in this morning, they're all starting the day on time. Guys?
Also this morning, celebrating the legacy of a lifesaver, people coming together on the Cape to remember a 14-year-old boy who was killed in an ATV accident. That teenager helped save 5 lives after his death.
Absolutely incredible. His family decided to donate his organs to others in need. In all, 5 people received the donations, and yesterday, 3 of those recipients came together for a celebration in Hyannis and to share their experiences with his family. Now, Parker Shipman died last October. He was only 14 years old. His dad still struggling to speak about Parker.
It's every dad's nightmare to lose a son. It's difficult to talk about, even more difficult to wake up in the morning. But the only thing that we've been able to hold on to and gravitate to is the fact that through the organ donation process, 5 other people's lives have been changed.
And Parker's brother was recognized at the ceremony. He got an award for helping Parker stay alive long enough that his organs were able to be donated. So I guess a little bit of a silver lining for this family, helping others.
He lives on through those 5 other people.
Yes.
All right, coming up here on the news station, Mark Wahlberg may be following in the footsteps of his good friend, Patriots owner Bob Kraft. What the pair could soon have in common.
And some dramatic body cam video. 2 officers racing to save dozens of animals with a wildfire bearing down on their shelter.